And today I want to talk about the Barcelona real estate market and why I think you should absolutely stay away from this market. Now, so Barcelona is a lovely city. If you've been, I've been there a couple of times. It's a beautiful place to visit. I really enjoyed my stay. But I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I think you should definitely not invest in this market. So let's get straight down to it. Number one, price. Now, typically you'll pay between 4 to 4,500 euros per square meter. Now, you might think for a major city, that's not too bad. But listen to this. The average person in Barcelona only earns 1,400 euros a month net. So I think the prices are very high when you take into consideration the local salaries. Number two, the gross yields. Typically in Barcelona, you'll get a yield of around 4%. Now, if you're lucky, you may get 4.5%, but typically you'll get about 4% yield. Now, you might say it's not too bad, but it's not brilliant either. Number three, the low net yields. Now, listen to this. If you are a citizen of the EU or one of the EEA countries, let's say like Norway, Liechtenstein, whatever, you will pay 19% tax on your rental income. But what's worse, if you're non-EU, you will pay 24% tax on your rental income. That's a lot of money. Another problem, in the region of Barcelona, you will pay around 0.75% annual tax on your property. This does vary, but at the moment it's around 0.75%. So that will also eat into your yields. Furthermore, community fees in Barcelona are quite high. So what are these? These are fees to do with the building maintenance and repairs inside the building. Now, in Barcelona, typically you'll pay between 1,500 to 2,000 euros a year. That's not an insignificant amount of money if you're wanting to let the property. So you may end up in a situation in Barcelona where your net yield will be close to zero. Number four, and this is a good one as well, the additional costs of purchasing a property in Spain in general are quite high. On average, you'll pay between 11 to 15%. And I think in Barcelona, you'll probably pay nearer the 15% mark for lawyer fees, notary fees, etc. And the problem here is this doesn't actually include the real estate agent fees. Now, these are paid by the seller, and typically you'll pay between 3 to 6%. So if you look at the all-round fees of buying and selling, you're typically looking at just under maybe the 20% mark. That's a lot to have to pay. Number five, and Spain is extremely pro-tenant. So whilst you can freely, at the initial stage of the contract, negotiate the rent, you cannot increase the rent by more than the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, let's say the inflation rate. And the problem here is that you can only do that once a year. So you will never be able to actually increase the rent above this level. And furthermore, a tenant has the right to stay for 5 years. That's quite a long time, so you can't evict the tenant. And that's very hard. The other problem is, yes, even if they don't pay, the actual courts in Spain are very slow at evicting tenants. So not only, for example, let's say if they do pay the rent and you can't increase it, they can stay 5 years. And then if they don't start not paying the rent, it could take a year or two to get rid of that tenant. That's not a good thing if you're a landlord. Number six is the capital gains tax rate. Now, although you could say 19% is not a huge amount to pay, but it's still a significant rate to pay. The problem is when you do come to sell, the Spanish authorities will initially keep 3% of the sales proceeds. So typically the purchaser will pay 97%, but 3% of that will be kept back by the Spanish authorities, because what they want you to do, they'll want you to fill in tax declaration forms before releasing this money. So they want to make sure they get their tax. Now, the problem here is that in Spain, this can take a long time. So Again, I put this as another disadvantage of investing in Spain and Barcelona in particular. Number seven, and this is another problem particular to Barcelona, is the Catalan separatists. Now, again, in Spain, there was a bit of an issue about a couple of years ago with the Catalans wanting to separate, and this can cause some political turmoil. And again, investing in that part of Spain, that can cause issues. Now, the European Union did say that if the Catalan region left, they would not automatically get entry into the EU, and many banks actually threatened to leave Barcelona and the Catalan region in particular. And again, I give this as a disadvantage of investing in Barcelona. Number 8, if you do buy a property and you want to go for short-term rental, the regulations are very, very, very strict. The authorities there will come and inspect the property. They will charge you fees for doing that. And it's not so easy as in other places to rent the property short term. Also, they may, if you rent it very, very frequently, they may charge you VAT on that. They may force you to set up as a business and charge you VAT. Now, that's not a good thing either. Number 9, the birth rate in Spain is very low, and in Barcelona, it's actually only about 1.3 per couple, and this is actually declining quite fast. So year on year, you're getting 2 to 3, 4% declines on that. So the population is actually going down, and that's never a good thing for the property market. And number 10, I just want to put a few other. I'm just going to put other there, and I'm going to put Brexit. So with Brexit coming, you're going to have fewer British buyers investing in Barcelona and indeed other parts of Spain. But the British buyers love buying in Barcelona, and you're possibly going to get fewer of them buying, not least because if there's a hard Brexit, and there looks as though there will be a hard Brexit, they're going to be charged more on the rental income for starters, and the whole procedure of buying will take longer. Plus, tourism, and this I'll put in the other section, tourism in Barcelona isn't exactly growing by a lot. It's starting to stagnate. And whereas in other markets, let's say like Tbilisi in Georgia, where tourism is set to explode, in Barcelona, it's plateaued. So this is not good for the property market either. And in general, a lot of people in Barcelona are fed up with tourists. And the fewer tourists you have, the worse this will be for the property market. Now, another thing I just want to tell you about is an article I read quite recently in Bloomberg, is that the authorities in Barcelona are thinking of taking away properties from landlords. So these are institutional landlords which have several properties which are empty. They're thinking of forcibly reclaiming them, giving them only half the value of the property's worth. So again, I don't understand this. This is not good for the real estate market. And it's not fair, for example, on normal renters. So if a renter is paying a commercial rate, and the authorities in Barcelona, what they're thinking of doing is actually taking by force properties from these institutional landlords and renting them at a much lower rate to locals. Now, how far are they going to go on this? I really don't know. They might even get the single landlord who keeps their property empty, let's say, for a year. Already they are tackling, in their words, people who are not renting their properties out. So if there's been empty, if the property's been empty for 2 years or more, they're coming in and taking the property from you and giving you below what the property's worth. And with these institutional investors as well, they're thinking of fining them a lot of money too. So basically, these institutional investors may actually lose their properties and get nothing for them. And one other thing about Barcelona as well, I wish the authorities would tackle this rather than go for the real estate investors. Why the hell do they not go against these petty criminals that there are in Barcelona? Barcelona has become a city of a lot of mugging, stealing off tourists, This is not good. So I just wish the authorities would tackle that, would tackle the crime, rather than go, as I say before, going after real estate investors. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts. I do like Barcelona as a city. I know I've given 10 reasons not to invest, but please do go there as a tourist. It's a lovely city to go and visit, but it's definitely not a place where I would put my money in the real estate market. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video, and have an amazing day.